Was goofing gamers. So today I figured I'd show another excessive time scramble that I was in. I have been really enjoying my speed chess compared to the 10-minute that I used to really enjoy. As we see, I'm not showing up. Okay, whatever. So anyway, d4, d5 was the first two moves. Just queen's pawn out. He then plays e3. I play knight c6. Knight f3. Obviously trying to defend that against a move like that. Let's see. Boop. Knight f6. And then he plays bishop to e2. I don't really understand that move. I guess trying to protect against me trying to pin the knight to the queen. But I don't really know beyond that. I then play e5, which is not a great move because if something like takes, I'm just down a knight. I forget that this only works in the e4 opening and not the d4 opening, because then the queen can take back after, say, takes, and then the knight that would be here takes, then queen takes. But that's fine. He castles because, you know, time. He's trying to save time. He's at 203. I then push to attack the knight. He goes back to d2. I play bishop from f8 to b4, obviously trying to attack that knight. He obviously wants to boot it so I can go back, which is exactly what happens. I play bishop d6. He then goes b4. Castles. He plays bishop to b5. I obviously want to do that so I don't have to break my pawn structure after takes. He then plays g3. I have been disconnected. Please refresh the page to reconnect. No thanks. I then play knight to g4. He plays f3. E takes f3, knight takes f3, and then I played a6, trying to boot the bishop, trying to get it to go back here so I can win another tempo on it, boot it back, and then, you know, try to get the knight in the game somehow, maybe rerouting it over here to attack that pawn would be nice, but he just goes straight back to d3. I then play b5 anyway, just like I planned. Knight still defended. He plays knight to d2, rook e8, knight to b3, as if he was just playing a weird cow opening, just trying to put his knights on random squares, I guess. Queen d7, obviously trying to go for that pawn and put more pressure on the center. He plays e4, which, you know, takes, and then knight to h4, which directly loses a bishop. Queen takes, and then I play h6. He then plays knight f5, obviously trying to attack my queen, my bishop, but that's, you know, just bishop takes knight, queen takes bishop. And then I offer a queen trade, because if he trades, I'm fairly confident I would have won that game immediately. He does not. He goes back to d3 with the queen. I then play g5, trying to just throw pawns at his king, because it's a very open king. There's a lot of squares around him that can be attacked. He then plays knight back to d2, play h5. He plays knight to f3, h4, just continuing it with takes, which doesn't happen. He just takes with the knight. I play queen to g6, trying to attack the knight, offer another queen trade, just anything I can really get going. He plays queen f3. I play f5, trying to defend my knight because it was hanging. I obviously, in this position, could have just, well, no, the bishop's attacking. I could have played there. That probably would have been better. But f5, you know, time scramble. He has a minute 20. I have 30 seconds, so time's not in my favor. He plays bishop to f4. Bishop trade, takes with the pawn. I play rook e3, defended by that, trying to either attack the queen and go for that pawn, which he stops with a check from queen d5. I push king g7, queen d7 check, king h6. He plays knight f7 check, obviously hoping that I take there so that he just has the easiest game of his life. But notice I only have 20 seconds on the clock. He's slamming me. King h5. Trade the rooks, but I decline, instead taking the pawn I wanted. He puts pressure on the queen, so I sack the queen for a rook. I knew I could do that because I was up plenty of material before. He's only up by a pawn, which I can easily win back. There are two hanging pawns. If I go rook c2, knight takes h2, that's just a clean pawn, and I win a tempo on the rook, so he kind of has to go here probably to try to team up with the queen on my king. So I go for that plan. He plays check. I take with the knight. Don't know why he tried that. Takes. I'm at 10 seconds though. He still has a minute, so he's still doing good. I am not. Plays a3. Rook b2, that was a mouse slip. I meant to go to rook a2. Obviously trying to go for that pawn, because even if he pushed it, I just take with the rook, and then I get free real estate on the rest of these pawns, and I can just gobble. But I misplayed. He plays rook f3. I'm at 9 seconds, so I go back for check. And then he plays king h3. I take the pawn with my knight. He completely leaves his rook hanging, instead opting to take a pawn while I just steal the rook with check. He attacks the knight, which me with 6 seconds left, I don't see it. I don't know what that move was supposed to do, but that completely blunders a knight, which he does not take. So I don't go for saving the knight again. I just decide not to. Takes, check, double the rooks, check, and then I go to win the pawn. He's getting free real estates on my pawns. He underpromotes to a knight, I think just because he knows that he's losing that pawn anyway. So he just wanted to attack my pawn, I guess. So I take with the rook. Obviously losing a rook in the process. Okay, so obviously he takes the rook. I'm sure you heard that last time. Keep in mind I've got 9, he has 38 seconds. He's winning on time, but this is a completely dead lost endgame for him. 1 versus 2 with a rook. It's just not going to cut it. I completely blunder my rook, by the way, which he does not take. I then, cut the king. He pushes the pawn, pushes the pawn, pushes the pawn. Play a check so that he can't just snag my pawn. But then he does the pawn trade, and this is just dead lost for him. I ended up pre-moving all of this, but that's just checkmate. A nice clean one too. Promote to the queen. Queen e2. Boop, boop. Nice little ladder mate on the A file. So, yeah. I'm really enjoying my time scramble games. If anybody else is, let me know. I can obviously make more videos on these excessive time scrambles that I have, because I have them every game because I like to think. But that's what makes this so interesting, is to see how I do under excessive pressure, because I always seem to play well under pressure. But anyway, you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.